Oh man, it's another fine podcast. So a week has passed, and yet you guys are still at Canadian Nationals. The matches run late, right?
Yeah, we're spending a good time, like very close, intimate time with
Yeah.
in a nice French town.
Wifey is away.
All right. So on deck tonight, we've got Wanzik and Bertie from the fine. Well, I don't know if it's the fine city, but the fine city of Quebec City.
The capital, yeah.
Yeah.
Capital, where it's the only place in Canada that's not bilingual, in my experience.
Yeah, no.
And from Nebraska, where I don't know, the beer flows like wine. What do they say? Like what's?
I don't know. When you booze, you lose.
I don't know. Nebraska, like the only state more boring than Wisconsin.
There is not much to see. Yeah.
No. All right. Well, anyway, you guys know the rules. Everybody comes here with a topic, something fun to talk about, and today we're nominating Mr. Joel Park to go first.
Really?
Sure.
All
Why
right.
not?
Well, I don't really have anything that interesting, to be honest. But so I was thinking about today. Well, I guess Ben and I had a conversation yesterday. We were talking about the Matt Burkett DVDs, and that brought back a trip down the memory lane. And I still had.
Well, let's add some context to this. So,
Yeah.
Joel, you came up and visited me at my place,
Yep.
and I have a very substantial collection of DVDs that has not been added to in about a decade. I mean, not shooting DVDs, but DVDs. And among the DVDs that I have are shooting DVDs, probably, what would you say, Joel, 40 of them, 30 of them?
Yeah.
Like a lot. I mean, more DVDs than most people would know exist, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody's instructional material that's even tangentially related to practical shooting with handguns, I have it. Is that a fair assessment, Joel?
I would say so. Yes.
Yes. So Joel looked at that and it was like we've had some conversations about watching some of that stuff and all of that. So that was Juanzik's seen that as well. See, this is why we're friends, because I like you guys. So both of you guys have seen the DVD collection. At one point, like Juanzik popped one in and watched it, like before I took him to the airport last year. I seem to remember that. And I was like, yeah, see, student of the sport, student of the game. So anyway, that should answer. So both of us know that we have all this. And Joel, you're getting kind of old. You've been around in practical shooting for quite a while.
I am old. Yeah. You'd think I'd be good by now, but yeah, I've been around since like 04. I think it's ish when I started.
So that was when that DVD that you're referencing was relevant.
Yes. Specifically the fourth DVD, like that was the jam. The fourth one, because it was like, I think I don't remember what one
to three were all sold together, and it was kind of like the basics. But 3 was just an interview with Enos, I think.
Yep.
And 1 and 2 was basically the same. I think it was
skills, like how to draw, how to do reloads, just how to do the things.
Yeah, draw, reload, hold the gun, shoot the stuff, move around. I think.
Yeah, and then 4 was called How to Shoot Faster, and that was the ticket. Just talking about like cadence and like all the stuff that I had no idea about, and changing your vision and different types of pressing the trigger, and you could slap the trigger or pin the trigger. Like, oh, this is really interesting. And at the time, no one was talking about that, or that I had any exposure to. And I mean, I don't know, I guess I'd have to do math. What was I at the time? I don't know, like 20 or something like that. And so like I didn't have the money. I couldn't be traveling all over the country, but I could get these DVDs and watch them over and over and over again.
Yeah, and that was where I think that one was $35, the fourth disc. So that was $35 in 2004 money or 2005 money when I got it, and I didn't even blink at spending that kind of money on it. When I had no money, I was like, yeah, I'll spend $40 on this thing, no problem.
Yeah, it would have been 20 at the time. So anyway, that was the jam. I learned a lot from that, and so I decided to watch it yesterday or last night again. It's like a little trip down memory lane. And honestly, still, there are better ways maybe now of presenting it, or I mean, we've made advances. I mean, the shooting obviously has got better, but nothing he was saying in that DVD was really crazy talk. Like there wasn't anything that I watched with that I was like, that's not the way we do it anymore. So I thought that was like a good testament to the message and what he was, his program and what he was teaching people. Would you share with that, Ben? Would you agree with that statement?
I haven't watched it in a long time, so I don't want to go.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'd be inclined to agree with your assessment if I'm going just for memory, but I
Yeah.
haven't watched it in a long time.
I mean, yeah, there's some stuff that maybe I would have a better way or a different way of, but yeah, it was all pretty good. So, and then I was just kind of today I was doing a bunch of nonsense at work. I was kind of just spacing out, thinking like how much things have changed, and especially like people that have gotten into shooting in the last couple of years, they don't understand how much the game has changed. Like especially since we started, Ben, because
That's
like
true.
practice score wasn't a thing, so it was pen and paper scoring, and you had somebody in some hopefully air conditioned shack entering these scores into a computer, and then you had data entry being a problem because maybe they accidentally miskeyed something, so then you have to go wait until they print out these results and they put all the printed results on this big
Or
cork
how
board.
about that, Joel? Like I was a part of the like match video becoming a thing. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like match video being posted on the internet on I was using Google Video back before Google bought YouTube. So I was on the Google Video train and was making match videos, and I remember I posted the first USPSA match video to Google Video. And I think it was 2005 or 2006 when I did that. I mean, there was not much of that, and now it's getting like put up from the match.
Yeah.
It's going on Instagram from your phone, so it's the same device takes the video and shits it out to Instagram without even you having to do anything.
Yeah, and I googled when YouTube came out because I was curious. It was created in 2005, according to Google. So Google search results. So it was like now, like if I want to see high speed shooting, I could pick any of the top names and find videos of them. But at the time, I couldn't do that. I mean, YouTube wasn't a thing. I didn't have if I wanted to see like how does Vogel grip a gun, I couldn't find that. Or how does Eric? I see all his name at the top of all these results. How does he shoot? Like, I don't know. I don't have any way to get access to get video of seeing those guys shoot. So, yeah, like a ton has changed. So, I don't have anywhere else other really creative to go with it, I guess, other than a trip down memory lane. But and then like training group to tie that in, like that was not a thing. I would have been all over that.
Training group is what Enos used to be. Quite honestly,
it was not.
Like there's Enos. There's quite a lot of. I mean, a lot of people will find this ironic that I hold this view, but there's a lot of fuckheads. I mean, that's kind of the way it works. So these like forums tend to be dominated by personalities, and it's like, I know that I personally am not going to get on a forum and have an argument with somebody about shooting technique at this point. I'm just not going to do it. It's not a productive use of my time. Like 15 years ago, I will not. I just don't have the energy for it anymore.
I had no way of qualifying those people on Enos. Like I didn't know anything.
It used to be like the kind of the up and comers and the actual best and brightest, and it's not that way anymore.
But I had no idea. Like if they know what they're talking, they don't know what they're talking about. Like I don't have any idea. Like there's no way with a credible instructor that's willing to I would trust to interact with. So all of it was kind of like, well, just use it at your own risk.
Well, the main problem is that credible instructors, if they're credible instructors, they're busy credibly instructing, so they don't really have a lot of time for. Well, I'm serious. They don't have a lot of time for
volunteer work.
Yeah, they just don't because they're doing other things.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience a little bit.
Yeah, but the game has changed greatly.
Yeah.
And the availability of information.
All right, Canadian boys, what do you guys got? What do you want to talk about? Anything?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the recent match, I had a situation where I'm shooting this stage. Basically, it's a lateral stage. You start left and you go all the way to the right. And the starting position has one mini popper that you have to shoot in the start position. And there's another mini popper you have to go to the final position and then shoot it. So I was shooting amazing, shooting one Charlie, and then I shot the mini popper, and then I'm done, and I got my magazine out, and now I'm about to rack my slide to get the bullet out, and I'm looking back at the RO, and RO is looking at me seriously, the scoring RO looking at me seriously. Everybody's with their mouth open and looking at me seriously, I'm like, there's something fucked up here. I gotta start running back to the start position. I'm running with the empty mag, but one in the chamber. I go all the way to the starting position, which was about 7, 8 steps, big steps. I'm starting to run, and then I start finding this popper coming out of the barrel. Like, oh shit. And then okay, I only have one round in the chamber. I get a good side picture and I shoot it. Then I got it knocked. And it took me 9 seconds to make that up.
Wait, why did you do that?
Yeah.
At the time, I was thinking, okay, if I don't engage a target, I get 3 penalties and no alpha, which was not true. It was a mini popper. So if anybody don't shoot, skip a mini popper, think, no, it's not 30 points penalty because you only get 1 miss and 1 failure to engage, not 2 misses, because I thought it was a paper target, like failure to engage mindset. So by default, FTE to me is 3 mics by default, because I FTE'd the paper target a couple times. So I never FTE'd a steel target. So if it takes 9 seconds to make up 20 points penalty and 5+ points on the alpha, it's not worth it. So if people have that kind of situation and you look back and everybody is not, the RO is not saying if you're finished or not so clear, and everybody's giving you the look, hey, you forgot the target. And if you don't see it in that final position and you have to move to make it up, if it's a popper, you should probably not make it up. In most cases, it'll be either a wash or worse.
Why did you run over to the popper instead of running to the RO? Asking for a friend.
Or you just knock your hearing protection off. Isn't that the move?
I guess.
I'm not smart enough.
I'm not smart enough
you don't,
either.
You don't want to do that anyway. I would take the miss.
Yes.
All right.
Definitely.
Your
Well,
dignity's more.
Lesson learned, Kim. I was like, why would you do this? Oh my God. All right,
Hey, precious.
Alex.
That was exact points for the national title, by the way.
Oh, this was at it. Six. Oh,
Yes. It
oh.
was exact amount of points that I lost by.
Well, I just to console you, IPSC Nationals is not a real nationals. So
No.
really, there's nothing at stake anyway. Don't worry about it.
Mhm.
Do you like that, Joel? Am I spitting fire enough for you? He's not touching that.
I don't know. I've never been to that match, sir. I couldn't comment.
Have you been to IDPA Nationals?
No, there's a reason for that.
Is that a real nationals?
I would not be interested in such an event at this point in my career. I appreciate the offer.
That's what I thought you'd say. All right, Mr. Burdett, what's going on?
Well, actually, I just came back from like 2 pretty big European matches. Well, by the time this airs, it was like last month. So I did Extreme Euro Open. Actually, I got to shoot against, without naming him, some like one of the top shooters in the world that now shoots for a company, and he shoots production. And
you could just say you shot against. You had Eric, and well, you had some other guys too. So you had Eric, Lupisha.
Yeah, but in the last,
lots of guys.
So like in my previous like shooting experience, I mean, I've never shot against Eric Grofel ever, and that was in the last month. I shot against him 3 times.
Oh, wow.
3 times?
Yeah, once in Czech Republic. Then the week after, he was in Ontario giving courses.
Oh, he shot production optics though.
Production optic but I still compared. And he shot production optic in the provincial of Ontario over there. And I shot against him again in Russia about 2 weeks ago. So he shot a production there. And it's very interesting because I was doing a lot of recently. I was trying to shoot more and more on the move as I was getting into position, getting my mindset to you have to shoot sooner. So even if you're still like like doing like steps coming into position. You should start like shooting. And it's funny how you get so like drawn in that mindset that if you look at videos after that, you realize that I was probably just not efficient. I was, instead of going very aggressively from point A to point B, I would like start to slow down too soon because I wanted to get the gun ready and start to shoot sooner, but it's not efficient. I was just losing time. And sometimes you need to go and shoot against really good shooters to realize that they are like what you're doing wrong and what you're actually doing right. And shooting against him and some other like Lubisha, like all the other top shooters that were in Europe is very like eye-opening for that. Like I've been shooting matches in Canada and it's just like I could do whatever I want. Like I can screw up like really bad. I'm always going to be like mostly the fastest and I'm pretty much winning all the time. So I can't know like what's going on, what do I need to work on. So going to shoot these matches like gave me like huge experience. Even though I've shot big matches before, it's just sometimes it's a reminder. It's just like, hey, you need to be more aggressive. Like not when shooting, because shooting is good. Like the pace of my shooting is good, but everything else, like movement, getting to like you have to like I realize I have to hunt more a little bit. Like what's the next thing to do? Like hunt for the next target, the next position, get that reload done. Like all these things. And it's funny how, I mean, you can't compare from a match to another, but like a major match in, I finished like a certain percentage against Grafel in Europe, and the week after, just by changing my mindset of being more aggressive between positions and stuff, I got like maybe like a fairly better positioning, very better match, and like got to get really closer to his time and his points and everything, and just by changing the mindset, because my skills I didn't get better in a week, but I changed my mindset to being more aggressive and chasing more and hunting more, and that was like that was huge improvement in results, like just by doing that. So that was a big breakthrough. And it's something I've done before, changing this mindset. But after a while, you just kind of forget about it and focus on something else. And I needed that to be reminded again. Just
What would you say, like, for being more aggressive, like, for people, like, listening to this then? So is it, like, are you saying, like, split your, didn't, I guess I don't want to put words in your mouth. Are you talking about, like, splitting harder on the targets or transitioning faster, or what do
I
you
would
mean by
say
aggressive, or how would
the
you tell people?
shooting remains the same. You have to
Okay.
be relaxed and you just shoot. You
Okay.
follow the pace of your sights. You just the difficulty and stuff that had like I realized that's not a problem. Like I shoot like good speed for the target difficulty, so this is okay. But everything else, yeah, the transitions, you gotta chase to the next target a little more aggressive. But it's especially all the movements. Like you tend like like I tend to train a lot of like having a good flow on the stage, like keeping the flow going and everything, but it tends to be just slower. It's just so I was really telling myself in a walkthrough, like, okay, like I'm gonna shoot this like controlled, but then I'm fucking going there like as fast as I can, like, and I'm gonna nail that reload like quickly, aggressively. I'm gonna get there, and then I'll have my gun up, and then I'm back to shooting. But like I mentally tell myself in the walkthrough, like this is where I'm pushing, and then I'm gonna be aggressive. I realize that it's like I do really good when I'm really angry, when I'm
That's going to be tough
chasing
for you.
something.
You're not
Yeah,
an angry
so
guy,
You
are you?
seem so
no,
nice. I can't really
but
picture you
like
angry.
yeah, so
I
when
don't think I've seen you angry, actually.
I don't know. I don't know myself.
So it's like every time you don't pull the trigger, you
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
is aggressive.
Like aggressively, like and controlled. I mean, especially transition. You don't want to overswing or anything, but yeah, you want to chase the next target, hunt to the next target like as quickly as possible, but in control, so relaxed. But everything else, like you're running, like run like a motherfucker, like run like you want to kill that next target. It's just like, and for me, it works. Does I don't think, but I'm pretty sure it would work for everybody. Like just that, but it's the mistake that people tend to do is they stay in one mode. Either they flow through everything, so they shoot relaxed, but then they move relaxed, or they get very aggressive in movements, but they stay aggressive when it's time to shoot, and they only have like that aggressive speed. So it's just like you have to be able to balance like their level of aggression. And you guys are chatting or something like and laughing at.
No, it's not
Ben,
you.
sorry, Ben sent me something. It's not related to the conversation. I apologize.
Okay, because I don't know, I get picked on.
No, I did it to derail him. I did something to make Joel uncomfortable.
Yes.
That wasn't my dick, Joel. It was just so you know.
If you're trying to set me up and see me angry, I don't think it's gonna work tonight.
No, it was not related to that.
I can't. No, I can't imagine you being angry.
I've been though, but anyways.
I'm sure you
I
have
heard-
been. I'm just saying I
Yeah.
can't. I don't know what that looks like.
It's not very impressive.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, all right. Yeah. Good topic. Who's left? I think, is it me?
Yes.
Oh, man. Joel, which thing did you want me to? You wanted me to
So we're
talk
talking
about the thing I was telling you.
the stage thing that we were talking about yesterday.
All right, guys. So we've had a lot of conversations lately about stage design and how to get the difficulty of the targets right and all that. I think Joel and I made a video, put it on Training Group. I mean, just kind of for funsies, I think, for people's entertainment. But one of my pet peeves as far as stage design is when the difficulty of the challenge, I mean, the shooting challenge part, the difficulty of that is at a place where the top guys can't do it. You know what I mean? Not every time. So it ends up coming down to hoping to get lucky. And I could, you guys know the stages I'm talking about, right? I'm sure. Kim? Wanzik?
We'll finish the video.
What?
Stage building. The video you posted on Training Group?
Forget the video. Like,
No.
the stages I'm talking, so when stages are not like the difficulties not tailored right. So if the stages are so easy that nobody gets pushed, that's an issue, right? Of course, if the stages are so difficult that nobody in the match can really complete the challenge consistently without incurring penalties or
50%. 50% of the people shooting the match get a penalty here.
There's a 50% zeroing the stage last year at major match.
Yeah.
Yeah, so honestly, that's a fucked up stage. I mean, that stage shouldn't be in there. So I compared this to, so if we're trying to find the best shooter, it's kind of like doing a crash test on cars. So if you construct the test so that, okay, so we're going to strap a rocket engine to the back of this car, get it going 300 miles an hour and smash it into a brick wall. And we'll just do that with all the cars and see which one's the safest. You know what I mean? You're not going to see a lot of separation there.
No.
Because they're all going to fail.
Yes.
And the same as if we take all the cars and like put them on a gentle little slope like your driveway would be, and then like just let go of the parking brake and have the car roll down the driveway into a foam bumper, you know, all of the cars will pass.
Mhm.
Again, not a very interesting test. But if you get the difficulty right, you're pushing people in certain ways on certain things, giving them, like Joel likes to say, enough rope to hang themselves. So it's like, hey, it's more interesting to me in many respects to put a target at 15 yards, for example, to try and maybe you want to shoot that on the move, maybe not. That's more interesting in many respects than making it a partialed up target at the same distance, because then everybody will kind of treat it the same way, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So that's a good way to think. I mean, the complicated thing for people is you have to understand what people's capabilities are in terms of shooting. Whereas for us, I mean, the guys on here probably know, if you're shooting a 30-yard with iron sights, shooting 30-yard tuxedo targets or the skunk targets, I reckon that nobody here can consistently get A's every shot on that target in real match conditions. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of luck.
Yeah, so that's where it's like, hey, it starts to be about luck and can't. But if you put it at 20 yards, it's a totally different thing. Whereas it's very hittable. You can call shots on it. Like everybody be capable of knowing their sight position. Like, did you hit it? Did you not? Should you shoot an extra shot or not? That sort of stuff. So getting the difficulty tailored right for the stages is super important to having an enjoyable match. And when you have, quite honestly, like last year where they have a major match where half the people in the match zero a stage. I mean, that's just,
shooters.
Well, yeah, of course. That's just telling you that the people who built the stage fucked it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like for whatever reason, there was a mistake made. And I don't know. A lot of times the culture in the sport's kind of like you're like, people take it personally if you're just like, yep, so this stage was just built fucked up and we should not do it that way next time or whatever. People get really sensitive about that for reasons that I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm thinking about a stage we both shot recently where my thought was, I just want to get through this without getting a penalty. I don't care what the time is. Like, I just want to get through here without getting a penalty. Like, that's not very interesting.
Yes. I know the stage you're talking about.
I know you do.
You hated that stage, didn't you?
I did not. Yeah, well, it was demoralizing for a lot of people.
Yeah. All right. So that's what I got. Any comments on that?
I think it's interesting. Do you have, I don't know, what's the way then to give somebody a good guideline of what targets are hittable and what aren't? Maybe would the message be, if the person setting up the stage isn't sure if it's a good idea, or they have something questionable, they could ask a better shooter? I mean, I don't want to sound condescending, but it's like, if you're thinking about setting something up, you're like, oh, this array might be a little too tough. You could ask somebody better than you, like, is this something you could hit or not? Is that a good idea? No?
Well, no. I mean, honestly, I don't even think you need. I think by building stages, you kind of learn over time what people could do. It's just, if you see a stage or a target where everybody, I mean, if it's a club match and I see 50-60% of the people in a match racking up penalties, I mean, usually it's like, okay, I know which targets on this stage that's happening. I mean, that is speaking to you. And then, of course, there's other stages where if you look at them and you see the results are really bunched up, because you're not seeing a lot of separation in the results, that's telling you, it's like, hey, that's maybe, I'm not saying it's an invalid test, but that's maybe not as interesting of a test. You know what I mean? However the targets are set up, it's like, if not a dynamic, interesting test, you don't tend to see as much separation between people. And a good example of this would be 4 targets at 7 yards through a port, 4 targets at 7 yards through a port over there, 16-round stage. So there's enough movement there that everybody can get the reload done in the amount of movement they have, and pretty much everybody can squirt them on the targets in basically the same speed. And the top guys just get ahead by a little bit, because they're a little bit faster, a little more accurate. But, on that stage, there's really no place for anyone to fall, and there's no place to do anything super interesting either.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So paying attention to that stuff, I think, is helpful for match directors. And I really like match directors that ask people for feedback. So you love Iowa, right, Joel? The
very much.
Iowa
yeah.
section. No, I've been there.
Outstanding.
I've been there and I shot that match, and the match director, I think he polled everybody, but he comes up, he's like, hey, what did you think of the stages? And I got the sense just from talking to him, like, oh, he actually wants to know what I think. He doesn't want a blowjob. He just wants to know, like, what do you think?
No, he genuinely cares about what you have to
and
say.
if you're like, yeah, these stages over here are super interesting, that one over there, like this is an issue that you should think about, and he's like, oh, okay, cool. Like that's a super good attitude. I really like that.
I would say Hopkins Club, the one at Mill Creek, is the same way. Their match director, like I talked to him last year. He's like, "What do you think of the match?" It was really good. I'm like, "I wish you would have had a few more like long targets like you had the year before." And he's like, "Guess what?" Then I see him in conversations like, "Hey, remember how we talked about the long targets? I've got some like more distant targets this year." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome!" Like he cared what I had to say, and I'm sure he asked other competitors too. And he's interested in making the match as good as it can be, not necessarily what he thinks it should be, but what the competitors would like the best. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, then the flip side of that is I remember a few years ago I went to a club and did a class and then shot a match with the class after, and I think the match director knew that there was a class put on there, so he set up one of the classifiers that's like super far shooting, one that nobody shoots to their classification on.
is it the strong hand weekend one with like 4 targets out to 30 yards?
There's more than one of those. I don't remember
okay.
which one. I don't remember which one it was. That's like 4 bill drill.
Yeah.
There's one. There's Merle's Standards is another one. I don't know if that's still active, but it was one of those. He puts out. He's like, we're gonna see if you boys can shoot. And I'm thinking like, yeah, all you did is basically like butt fuck all the people here shooting this match. You know, like no, like I can put him. I can hang him on the target. I'm not saying the hits are going to be good, but I can hang them on there. And these other people are hosed. Like they're just going to like rack up penalties. And you know, great. Now we know who can shoot. I guess. Great. Thanks for that. So that would not be wonderful. All right, guys. I think we should move on to a question. How's that sound?
Sounds amazing.
All right. This one's for you, Alex, because you're smart. Hi, I've been shooting IPSC production since October last year. Well, in my region, and he says Europe. He put that in parentheses. That was nice of him. Classification is not based on classifier stages, but on match results. I'm now a low B shooter. Here's the question. In matches, I still get mics approximately 1 in 4 stages. The rule applies to static paper targets, which are prevalent here. However, what puzzles me is that whenever a mic occurs, I normally get alpha mic in combination. This does not happen in training. What's likely the problem? Unfortunately, I cannot reliably call shots. What can be the diagnosis? Obviously, English is his second language. At this stage, I am more concerned with not developing bad habits rather than getting a high hit factor. What would you say, Alex? The old alpha mic on static targets.
Well, is it before he leaves the position or just randomly there? But it's obviously the first shot is the alpha, the second shot is the mic. So it could be grip issues. Like definitely if he can call his shots, he needs like to be a little more disciplined. But the whole calling shot thing is so hard to like. I remember when I first did my, the IPSC in IPSC in Canada, we do the Black Badge course, which is a safety course that explains the rules for IPSC as well. And it's some sort of a firearm instructor course. It's a firearm course. So they talk to you about calling your shots, and it's like, yeah, it's easy to say and like, okay, I know what you mean, but how do you actually do that? And I figured like it takes time, but like the more you get used to see the sights lift and the speed, you get used to it, and eventually you see more. And the more you see, the more you will see the sights, and the more you get to call your shots without blinking eyes or whatever, or being distracted by the recoil. So that just takes time, but otherwise, I would say probably he doesn't have like a consistent grip throughout the whole process of shooting an array. So maybe his grip is loosening up at some point. He's losing contact, and just that first shot will always be first shot will always be accurate. The second shot, maybe he's flinching a little bit, squeezing with the arm, pushing the shot. Could be many things, but consistency in his grip would probably be an issue.
Yeah. All
The
right.
other-
Well, oh, Joel, go ahead.
The other
Sorry,
one I would
sorry,
say is no, sorry. The other one I would say is vision, because if you're possibly looking to the next target before you're done shooting that target, you could pull off that target before you shot the second shot.
So
Yeah.
all of us agree it's either a pull off or a second shot issue.
Yes.
Yeah. So
So
I
it's
can say
mainly discipline.
maybe. I mean, that's
No,
like
but well, I mean, pulling off, he needs to be disciplined and like keep the focus on.
keep his eyes on that target till he's done shooting. Whether he's pulling off to go to the next target or the next position. So it'd be a pull off, or he's banging out shots and either diving the gun down, like pushing into the gun. Second shot goes low, or insufficient, grip pressure and recoil control, and he's sending the second shot high.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, grip or discipline. It's one of the two.
And if he's pulling off targets, I would say that's normally the last shot in the array, because your mind's thinking like, I need to get out of here, I need to get moving fast, and you leave that target before you're done shooting it.
Yeah. So now you hear we've got two distinct possibilities based on the information in front of us. I can't tell you what it is, but what I can tell you is when I read you say, this does not happen in training, your training is fucked up, quite honestly. So your training should accurately reflect what is going on in matches. So if you're training all right, let's give you a possibility. This is a scenario that I'd say is likely. It's on the list of things that I would look at. You are pulling out of, so you're running out of position. So you're leaving a position as you're shooting the last shot in that position, kind of at the same time, and that shot's missing, and you're running off to the next spot. And let's say that your training is all static. You're not running around in training. Okay, so that's why I'd say there's some, like, you're not simulating this issue, or you're not covering this in your training, and you're not being attentive to it. That'd be one possibility. Let's say you're shooting very slow and deliberate, trying to make a lot of alphas in training. Then you go to a match, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna hammer down on this thing, and you get onto a 15-meter target. You go pop pop, and that second shot goes right over the top of the target without you knowing it, because you're not training to shoot at that speed during your training. If that makes sense. So you should be seeing this in your training, and if you're not, there's something wrong with your training. There's like, you're not covering this, you're not paying attention to this issue, whatever it is. And like, I think we just gave you a few possibilities, or a few things that I would look at.
Yeah, he doesn't have the match pressure in practice.
Yeah, so a lot of guys train very deliberate, shooting, especially the European style. Like, what this guy's mentality is saying is, hey, I want to have good habits. I'm not too worried about the hit factor right now. So maybe his training is slow. He's just being very deliberate, and then you put him under pressure, and he starts rushing, and he's pulling his eyes off of targets. You go into the next task and picking up those misses.
It's funny how I've noticed about paying attention to what you're doing.
Yeah.
When I give courses, like, so I'll teach stuff like about grip, and like I'll see people, they'll shoot freestyle, and like they shoot like bad points, misses, and stuff like that, and like they drop shot, and then I tell them like to shoot strong end only or weak end only, and like I give them some pointers on like how the tension and what to pay attention to, and all of a sudden they're shooting more accurately than ever. And it's just, I realize they're just paying more attention to what they're doing, so
Yeah.
they're actually hitting stuff. And I'm like, why don't you do that but with both hands? It's just because they kind of get lazy, and because they think both hands, they've done it for so many times, is that they don't need to think about it, but they should still pay attention to what they're doing.
They have to focus.
Focus, yeah.
Focus.
Focus hard.
Focus
Like,
hard.
I usually, I focus a lot. Yeah, excuse my French. So yeah, but paying attention definitely is just, it's hard mentally and it feels slow, but it's very efficient.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Another wonderful,
Bang
very
up podcast.
informative.
Bang
I
up.
don't know if it was bang up, but it was.
Mediocre.
Yeah. I
Educational.
mean, yeah. Well, it's something. It was a podcast. if you'd like us to answer a question for you, go to bensteger.com, send me your question. Gives us something to talk about, which we like. What else? Should we show some stuff, Kim?
Show?
Yeah, so if you'd like more stuff, go to
Yeah.
practical, pstg.us is Practical Shooting Training Group. All the people on this podcast are kind of hooked into training group on some level. So you can have more, get your questions answered on there if you're a member, and you don't have to wait 6 weeks or 2 months or whatever the lead time is. And there's, I don't know how many videos are on there now. Is it 200 maybe once?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's
Hours, and I don't know. What do you think you have by now, Ben? Like 50 hours, 40 hours,
It's probably way over that.
More than
60
that.
hours?
if you're counting the
Well, plus
member
the talk throughs.
the video reviews, you know, like if you watch other people's reviews, there's 186 of those up. I just checked, and for well,
186 times what? 8? Let's say an average of 8 minutes.
then match talk throughs, for example, there's 22 match talk throughs
Oh,
on there. For example, so there's quite a lot. There's maybe 50, 60 drills with videos, and there's lots of shit. So if you like what we're doing here, pstg.us has way more of this with less bullshit, I guess.
More organized, less banter,
Yeah, there's hardly any banter on there, which I kind of like.
which is awesome.
Yeah. All right, so that's it. That's the shill. pstg.us if you want to get better at shooting. bensteger.com if you want to send in questions. benstegerproshop.com if you want to buy gear. gmjp.net if you want to go to
Not
Joe's
a thing.
personal site. That is a thing.
Not a thing.
And HKim Shooting, is that what it is, Wanzik? That's your site?
Yes.
Yeah, HKim Shooting, that's the thing. And you're still at X Metal, right?
Yeah.
Alex? So if you're a Canadian and you need targets or the ammo's done, right? It's just targets now.
We're doing still projectiles.
All right.
For projectiles, and if you want to book a course, man,
Yeah.
Canadian. I'm pretty polite, and I'll still push you though,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
politely.
I would
Just
take
keep them.
class with Alex. Yeah.
Just keep Alex away from the women. That French accent. It's game over. Lady killer. Believe that.
Yeah, right.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming on. I do appreciate it.